Alright, yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story takes place back when I was in high school. This is my grade 9 year, and let's just say grade 9 was one of the most insane years ever. Because usually in grade 9, you're supposed to, get used to learning the new high school life, and how high school really works, and what freedom is, and how to manage your time properly. Well, for me, it was all about the girls. As weird as it sounds, and if you guys are big fans of the channel, you guys would know, I've done a lot, and I mean a lot of doing the Devil's Tango. Because I've been around the block here and there. But one thing I'm gonna mention is that as the master key of all things don't always end up your way, or never should have ended up your way. But I remember the most craziest thing ended up happening one day at school, which will always be like implanted in my mind. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing, but at the same time, it's not the best thing. I remember one time I was in a classroom in grade 9, and I was in my homeroom that I usually go to in the beginning of the school day. And I remember our homeroom teachers ended up walking in front of the classroom saying, "All right, guys, so I don't know when exactly, but basically we are going to be having an assembly today for a very special fun spirit assembly." If you guys don't know, basically every year, sometime in the year, they do this dumb thing called the spirit assembly, where basically you show school spirit and show how much you love the school, even though you're forced to go there. And me, I honestly wasn't a big fan of school. So my plan was to skip it, but as usual, it was my grade 9 year. And in grade 9, you still have that essence of innocence in you that makes you not want to skip school or, do the bad things. Unless you were already naughty back in grade 8. But in reality, I wasn't that naughty. I remember back when I was in grade 9, I would always basically kind of like be forced to go to assemblies. And I remember this day specifically, I really didn't want to go because one thing that was really trending throughout our school was one of the most cringiest things, and I think in my opinion, one of the most cringiest moments in internet history. It was called twerking. Now I think all of us know what twerking is. It's basically when you bust down. We all see it in Aiden Ross streams, YouTube videos, even in Anaconda Don't back in 2014. Yeah, I'm calling out you, Nicki Minaj. I know what you did. Basically, twerking became the world sensation, and it became a big deal in my school. Because as usual, when society says something, everyone ends up doing it. And knowing this, I remember when I would walk down the hallway of my classes that I would have to go to, everyone would be literally twerking. It was literally disgusting, but at the same time gross. Because sometimes girls with a really nice peach would end up twerking, and it would be sensational. It would be awesome. It'd be worth staring at. But then sometimes girls would do it when they don't have anything back there. It almost looked like I was getting my pencil and trying to do the rubber trick with it. I don't know if any of you guys know that trick, but comment down below if you do. It'll actually be kind of funny if you guys still know that trick. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember I was in the cafeteria with my buddies at lunchtime. We were all sitting down because literally the next block after was supposed to be the spirit assembly. And basically, I remember we were all sitting together in a circle, and we were basically discussing conversations that guys usually have, from Call of Duty gameplay to video games to even girls. Now, when we were on the girl conversation, I remember my buddy ended up looking at me saying, "Bubba, if you had to choose any girl in the school to twerk in front of you, who would you want it to be?" As he starts rubbing his hands together like an evil villain. Honestly, I remember when he asked me this, I had my eyes only on one girl at their school at the time. It was one of the most attractive girls in our school, and she was very, very cool. And also, she had one of the biggest, and I mean one of the biggest peaches ever. Like, reminder, like, she's literally like one of those girls that would go to the gym every day because her parents forced her to and play volleyball. So with that combo being together, I think we all know the awesomeness that comes towards that peach. Going on though, I remember I basically said her name, and my friends all freaked out. They all said, "Oh my goodness, dude, like she would be so awesome to watch. Oh my goodness, dude, no way. Oh, you're so true, bro. Like I would pay to see that." Like they were all basically agreeing with me about what I said. It was kind of funny, and basically we're all talking about her until eventually her friend group ends up entering inside the cafeteria, and she like sees us all there. She saw us all there, and I was panicking, and I just went quiet. I didn't want to say that we were talking about her big juicy cherry because that would have been awkward, and also who wants to talk about that? But they ended up sitting to the table next to us talking about, the spirit assembly and how excited they are, because also she was in a leadership team. Yeah, kind of a goody two shoes, but it's whatever. And as all the guys were sitting together, kind of just being quiet and not talking about her big juicy peach, I remember hearing one of the girls go, "Oh my goodness, like, did you guys hear, like, there's gonna be like a literal dance party at the spirit assembly? This is gonna be so exciting. This is gonna be the best one this year. I swear it is. I can't wait." And from her saying that, all the guys that were in my table group all looked at each other and were kind of like weirded out, because I'm gonna be honest, none of us actually dance. Like, we dance unless we're forced to, but like we don't dance. So we found it kind of weird and kind of funny how they were doing that, but we need to make sure. So I remember we ended up basically leaving the cafeteria, and when we left, we ended up going to the gym where the assembly was originally supposed to be. When we got there, I remember we looked around and we saw that they were setting up a bunch of speakers and a disco ball at the assembly. At that moment, we knew that there was definitely going to be something going down that was insane, and also the dance party that the girls were talking about in the cafeteria. I remember when we were looking at this going down and how they were building the set for the spirit assembly, me and my friends friends were all laughing like nonstop. It was hilarious. And then out of nowhere, I feel a hand on my shoulder pop up, and literally out of nowhere, I remember I turned around, and when I did, I saw the girl. The girl that was literally the one that I mentioned that I would love to see her do the twerk. It was super awkward. I remember my friends were looking at me like, did he say something? And the girl looks at me and says, oh, are you gonna be at the spirit assembly? I'm gonna be performing. What is what I said? She literally said that she was performing and that she was doing it to represent the volleyball team. So she was gonna be wearing a volleyball outfit, which in reality is just short shorts and a nice cute top, and going to dance. I was excited, and at that moment I knew the assembly was definitely gonna be worth it. So me and all my friends, we ended up going to class because the bell rang, and obviously we had to go to class. And when we did, we were all excited for the assembly. We wanted to go really badly. We were waiting until teacher stopped talking and basically get it started. And then out of nowhere, the announcements went on saying, all right guys, we're having a spirit assembly. Please come down one at a time. Thank you. I was excited. So I stood up and I basically went to the door, lined up with my other classmates, and started heading down to the assembly. When I got there, I remember we were all categorized by grades. So for example, we had the grade 9s, grade 10s, 11s, and 12s. And when we all sat down, instantly at that moment, music started playing. We had people running around. We had a school mascot, which was a really hot chick, by the way. Story about that another time. And basically, I remember the funniest thing happened where my friend was wearing the school colors that he changed into in the change room. He wasn't telling us that he was also performing because he was embarrassed about it, but I won't lie, he was actually really good at performing. As we were all sitting down, I remember all of us were basically kind of bored because over time, the spirit assembly does get boring. And then out of nowhere, I remember our principal was just talking about how we have like school spirit and stuff. And then instantly, I remember principal said, also great thanks to the volleyball team of our school. And right when she said that, the girl that I thought would look amazing if she twerked literally ended up going in front of the school. She went in front of the school doing her like volleyball kind of like moves and stuff. And then out of nowhere, she went from a volleyball pose to literally twerking in front of everyone in the school. Now you guys are probably thinking, oh, it's just twerking. No, like I'm not joking when I say this. She was wearing booty shorts that were literally falling off because out of nowhere, I remember as she was shaking that peach as much as she can, I don't know how else to explain it, but she was shaking that peach like crazy. Her pants ended up falling down. Her pants fell down. She turns around in shock. She's like, oh my goodness. And I remember the amount of people that were recording this assembly because it was a school thing was a big deal. And not only that, they were actually even live streaming it live to other students that were at home. So I guess a lot of parents got to see a lot of, well, grade 9 peach that day. I don't know how to explain that without, you know, getting demonetized. YouTube, don't demonetize me, please. And long story short, I'm not gonna lie. That whole thing happened. The principal came out with a towel, covered her up, and basically she ended up going home. She went home because she was embarrassed. And then I remember I felt really bad. So the next day at school, when I walked up to her, I decided to tell her that her peach was awesome. Little did I know that's the last thing she wanted to hear. But I mean, it doesn't matter because later on in the school year, I ended up doing the devil's tango with her anyway. But she was so ugly because I guess puberty hit her more in grade 10 and 11. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's story. Make sure to do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, follow for more embarrassing but crazy stories. Peace out, guys.